David, lost to Tony Thompson 4 months. Does it seem like an eternity waiting for this?
Yeah, it has, yeah. I mean, the worst time for me was in between the fight and getting the rematch signed, because that was where I was in limbo a little bit. I didn't know what was going on. Once we got the rematch signed, then we could start knuckling down. And when you're in training camp, the weeks fly by really, and it's come down pretty quick.
How long did it take you to get over that setback?
Well, until I beat him on Saturday night is how I'm looking at it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not looking back at the fight, I'm looking forward towards Saturday. But that's why, I'm looking for redemption, so to speak, like the name of the show. Because I want to redeem myself, and only until I do that, then I'll get over the defeat. Because it still hurts me pride even now when I think about it. But I'm looking forward rather than back and concentrating on what's going to happen this Saturday.
What did you do wrong? Because it all seems so easy for you, this boxing game.
Yeah, I don't know what I've done wrong, but I mean, I got caught by someone who's a bigger puncher than I give him respect for. If you look at his record, he's got a good knockout ratio, and I think he's knocked his last 10 opponents out where he's won or something like that. So, I didn't realise at the time, but I felt pretty much in control during the fight, and I was trying to please the crowd. I remember really consciously thinking in my head I wanted to catch him with an eye-catching shot, and I stepped in from out of range with an uppercut, and he threw the counter left hand and then the right hook round the back there, and just scrambled my senses. My head was okay, but my legs were just nowhere to be felt. Do you know what I mean? Stood up and feel my legs for a little bit.
Is it all or nothing this weekend?
All or nothing, yeah. I'd say I'm saying it's like a bit of a make or break fight. It'll be the making of me or the breaking of me. I've got a lot to gain by winning, but I've got a lot more to lose.
Can you tell us what having Lennox on board has done for you?
Well, first of all, it's been a massive compliment for him to want to put his name to the David Price story. Because, at the end of the day, he's putting his name to me, and it shows he's got a degree of faith in my ability and what I can do and what I can go on to achieve. And, that's a compliment in itself. But just having him in and around the gym is a massive inspiration. No one needs telling what Lennox Lewis done or what he was like as a fighter. He's an all-time great, and my favourite fighter of all time, regardless of whether he was on board or not. So to have him in and around the gym just giving you bits of advice here and there, it's priceless really.
What's the most important thing he's taught you?
Do you know what, I couldn't tell you the most important thing, but he's taught me that much. I got to a point in Canada where I was having to write it down after the gym session, and because you get told that many different little things, some of them you forget, and but I wouldn't say one particular thing is as important or more important than any other. It's just a whole load of different things which could be used in different situations. Some mightn't have to be used on Saturday night, some might, some probably will, but they're all added to my game.
What can we expect from David Price on Saturday?
A professional, calculated performance, which, I'm not bothered I'll win. Whether I win by knockout, whether I win on points. As long as I get my arm lifted at the end of that fight, I'm just going to do whatever it takes to win. So you can expect a determined performance from me. And a win? And a win, yeah, of course.
Lennox, just tell us how your relationship with David came about.
It was just a natural thing, he lost his fight, and I phoned him and I said, it happens to everyone, it happened to me. And to keep his chin up, and if he wants help with his development, I can do that. And he said, yeah. And we got together. We formed a training camp for 3 weeks out in Canada with my other trainer, Courtney Shan. And it was like somebody turned on a switch. We said, how much weeks you have? Let's get it cracking, and come over here, do some training, and that's how we got together.
Afterwards, after the loss, you said he was an amazing talent in a column you wrote in Boxing News. Yes. What is it you see in him that's amazing?
Well, he's got the size for one thing, and he's already got the upper body movement and the jab. As you can see today, he throws a great right hand, and he does that quite naturally, and there's punches that you haven't seen, like his right hook, which is pretty powerful. Working the pads with him, you get to see what his strengths are and what his weaknesses are, but that's definitely a strength.
So when, what sort of things are you encouraging him to do? Will you get him to sit in a dark room for 2 hours, put a bed in the dressing room and sleep?
Well, he's kind of easygoing. He's relaxed. He kind of reminds me of myself to a certain degree. Nothing really bothers him, and it's hard to see what bothers him, what really riles him up. Because I said he has to get a bit meaner, because he's one of these guys that he'll if you tell him to knock a guy's head off, he'll knock his head off, but he'll go and pick it up and put it on the guy's head and say sorry. So I just want him to really go knock the guy's head off and leave it there.
Do you think he'll do that to Tony Thompson?
Well, I think he will do that, because Tony Thompson took something away from him last time, and you could say he was a little embarrassed about it, and it was something that he really never expected. But now he's refocusing. All he's thinking about is Tony Thompson and what he wants to go in there in the ring and do. He wants to accomplish a win from this on this fight, and go forward from there.
When you step back into the battle zone, how hard is it for you, knowing he could still be gun shy?
I don't think he's gun shy, because it's a situation where it's not a situation where he got beat up for 12 rounds. It's a situation where he got caught when he was cold, and really a relatively surprising shot. And I've suffered a couple of surprising shots, and I was able to come back. And I would say if I never went through those defeats, I wouldn't be as great as I am today without those defeats. So it really puts something in your mind. It makes you refocus. It makes you dedicate even more and realize that it's not no easy job just even becoming champion.
After this fight, would you like to spend a full training camp with him?
Yeah, I think we need a full training camp session, because there's still a lot more to learn and a lot more to develop.
I take it you've had a good look at Tony Thompson. What are your thoughts on Tony?
No, Tony's a big, strong guy, and I see a lot of parts where we could expose him, and the jab will set everything up for him to be exposed.
Right now, where do you think David ranks alongside the other British heavyweights? David Haye, Tyson Fury, those sort of guys.
He's the next crop of heavyweights that are coming up. I would say David Haye is, stuck in the middle between the last crop and this crop. So, this is a new beginning for the heavyweights. Especially, I'm actually surprised there's that many heavyweights in Britain right now, which is great. So that we have so many to choose from.
What's your prediction for the fight?
David Price winning, being champion, regaining what he lost. I'm Lennox Lewis, and watch David Price on BoxNation.